Good morning. This is Henrik. We are Friday, November 17, 2017. I may know a vast amount of knowledge, but it all seems to me very limited when it comes to knowing about love. And that's why I wish to convey to you my feelings this morning and my thoughts about love. And if you have the time, the loving time, to hear me out and to listen to the great wisdom that we may find when we feel the loving feeling of love. Whenever we feel love, whenever we share love, whenever we seek love, whenever we find love, whenever we may talk about love, let us remember this. We are talking about the state of love. Love, basically, is a state of being. A relationship may appear to be perfectly good and loving when we are mutually loving one another. But this relationship is doomed to become or remain handicapped and therefore somewhat false and elusive if we have not reached a state of love that is based on a respect, a perfect respect for one another, and a respect for one's own self. Because if there is not perfect respect, then how can there be love that is truthful love? Without full respect, the loving relationship is not only a pale reflection of itself and the clever fooling of love pretending that we love fully when we are lacking in perfect respect is a dangerous proposition and state of being, because we are fooling the other and we are fooling oneself, and therefore we are fooling the God of love, which is love itself, the love that created us and all living things throughout the universe. Pretending that we love fully when we are lacking in perfect respect can go on giving us the sense that we know what love is, but we don't really know, do we? Love is, fundamentally speaking, a state of being fully inside the empire, the vast, infinite, everlasting empire of love. We speak of falling in love. That's the usual process, right? Tripped, so to speak, by Cupid, that mischievous little angel of love, that enamored servant of Venus, the goddess of beauty and of love, who also serves Adonis, the god of beauty and of love. Cupid, that great little archer who dips his arrows carefully and mischievously and deliciously in honey before aiming them at us with his powerful archer's bow, whom he skillfully carved from the wood of Hercules' massive bat. But whether one falls in love, or one trips upon love, or grows crazy with love and madly in love, one wise principle needs to be remembered and adopted. Instead of being in love, I would suggest humbly and lovingly, let us be love. Let love fall into us instead of us falling into love. Love, therefore, becomes our inner source and force of loving, instead of us being its object, its subject, its servant, and often its victim. It's that simple, really, if we come to really think and truly feel about love. Being in love is wonderful, isn't it? But love can be ephemeral. Being love itself, and not just in love, but being love, appeals to me as a better state, since it offers not the dangers of wrecking our hearts upon the shores of jagged reefs, bitter regrets, and painful remorses. Love, truly deep and permanent, non-elusive love, arises not by falling, crack, boom, you, in love with somebody. Now, truly deep and permanent, non-elusive, and illusion and delusion-free love arises by becoming love, by being love itself, and not merely its recipient. Not by falling into love as into a vessel into which water is poured, but by rising up towards love, by becoming one with love, and being love itself. By soaring upwards towards love and the source of all love. By elevating our soul, our souls of love, our loving souls, to ever higher levels and dimensions of love. And not just dimensions, but dimensions higher than those that we may currently be feeling in our daily, mundane lives, often made pale by the mechanisms of routine. By opening our hearts to the many wonderful feelings of love that will elevate our spirit to the highest of heights, so that we may fully be infused with love, should be the goal of all wise women and all wise women's hearts and minds, souls and spirits. To be truly loving is also to truly accept to surpass the love we currently feel, by giving this love of ours bigger, more powerful, and increasingly wide-reaching wings. The tender, bright, beautiful, and loving wings of love. We are love. We feel love. We are the fruit of the love of our beloved parents. And this love we feel deep down in our heart of hearts and rushing through our blood, energizing each one of our 80 trillion living cells through their intrinsic nuclear power plants, the loving mitochondrias. This love is made to be felt all the more deeply when our being is being silent. Love is a song of silence, the silence of our souls. It sings of the most beautiful place in the human anatomy and being, the innermost sanctum of our heart and hearts. There, where we may recollect in silence. Love is the song of our soul. Love is the melody of our spirit. Love is love, and love is you, is it not? Is love not you? Then I pray it become you. But if it not be so, if love is not you, if love has not found you, if you have not found love walking along your path, then why not? And if I may suggest, why not bring down all your shields, all our shields? I'm learning to bring down mine too. Those defenses built on the fortifications of our fear, of daring to love, of wanting to love, of desiring to love, but fearing not to be loved in return. We should never fear to open our hearts to love, should we? A Buddha, an enlightened being, is love. A Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ, the light of truth and the source of love, and the resurrection of life eternally. A Jesus Christ is love. A Krishna can be love. A Lao Tse can be love. A Mohammed can also be love. A Mother Teresa can be love. A person, any person, can be love and is love at its source, and can be eternally becoming love in the expressions of its unique manifestations. We need not be in love necessarily with a particular person or with a particular animal and lord and lady of life. Do they ever know that we can love our animals, our pets, our dogs and cats and our horses and parrots and our donkeys and others and all other wild animals, such as the bears and the wolves and the lions? We can be in love with a particular wonder of nature, its rivers, its lakes, its oceans, its roaring surf, its sunsets and sunrises, the blooming of its flowers, the scent of its lavender. Yes, of course. Those are catching glimpses of love. But instead, I would suggest that we be simply love. Loving love. Lovely, loving love. And lovingly, lovely love. The loving person's lifestyle, let us describe it, well, is love, basically and completely. The truly loving person's love, a person who's discovered that their love can be eternal and therefore immortal, feels a type of love that is not addressed or directed to anybody or anything in particular. The loving person's love spreads itself in all directions and feels oh so very wonderfully good. It spreads in all directions as if it were Anaximander's Apeiron. You know about Anaximander? Oh, he's one of my favorite Greek philosophers. Anaximander was born a couple of 100 years before the great Aristotle and the mystical and divine Plato. And I believe it was 610 before the birth of Jesus Christ. And Anaximander died at the ripe old age, back then in those days, of 64, and departed from this earth a very wise man, having shared his philosophy with as many others. As destiny and providence sent his way to those lucky souls. This pre-Socratic Greek philosopher lived in Miletus, a city of Ionia in modern-day Turkey. Anaximander therefore belonged to the Milesian school of philosophy, the science of wisdom, and therefore the mother of all sciences. Soon, philosophy, the mother of all sciences, the goddess Sophia, our planetary Mother Earth, will go and bring back the stray sheep, the rogue technocracies that threaten to dishumanize our world. Anaximander had learned the teachings of his master Thales, and in succeeding Thales, Anaximander became the second master of that school, the Milesian school of philosophy, where he counted among his pupils the great Pythagoras. Remember the theorem of Pythagoras applied to the triangle? The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of both other sides. Anaximander is one of my favorite Greek philosophers, I must say, because he omitted the concept of the Apeiron. As Apeions, it's spelt like ape and iron, the iron ape, following the Iron Man, leading to the Iron God, the Golden God. Anyway, as Apeions, we are beings that constantly recreate ourselves all along our individual lives. To Anaximander's concept of an Apeiron, I've added my own new philosophy, that of the budding spirits of our new days and age. This will be a great new philosophy, I believe, for the children of the divine renaissance of humanity at this beginning of the third millennium following the birth of Christ. It is a philosophy for the divine Renaissance men and the divine Renaissance women of Earth. A philosophy in which we can dwell at the intersection of the axis of eternity and the axis of infinity, imagine, at all times, day and night, and at each nanosecond during our entire lives, and from where this intersection of the axis of eternity and the axis of infinity, we can go on in as many infinite directions as there are radiuses in a sphere, not just in a circle, but in a sphere. Imagine, just imagine, are there not an infinity of radiuses in a circle? And are there not an infinity of circles inside a sphere? Therefore, a true divine Renaissance human being, boy or girl, why not dogs and cats, can go in an infinite amount of directions and follow an infinite amount of possibilities at each instant of his or her life. And we can do this eternally. Whoever comes close to truly loving boundlessly, without limits, without the notion of time, and therefore whoever comes close to truly, fully, and unconditionally loving, that person will become an enlightened lover of life, a lover of life in all its manifestations, a lover of life in all its incarnations, a lover of life in all its discoveries, a lover of life in all its journeys, a lover of life in all its dreams, a lover of life in all its realities, and a lover of life in all its beauty. The truly loving person feels this pure and perfect love. This love is an unconditional, unfearful, and uncowardly love. The truly loving person will be infused with this love. The truly loving person will shower in this love. The truly loving person will bathe in this love, completely, unconditionally, and perfectly, lovingly so. Simply, humbly, gratefully, and wholesomely so. Wisdom suggests that love make no conditions, no ifs, no buts, no stuttering, no nothing. Just love. The truly loving person rarely ever, if ever, says, "Do this for me, and then I will truly love you." Love, for the truly loving person, is like breathing. The breath of life become the breath of love. When love gives itself birth into your being, then you simply become love. You are simply love, born of love, living of love, and dying of love, resurrected eternally in love, but being love. Love being within you and not you within it. Love does not matter. Or it does not really matter to love who comes close to you, the beggar or the king, the sinner or the saint, the psychic vampire or the loving muse. Love loves all. It does not really matter to the truly loving person who truly knows what it is to love. Whosoever comes close to the truly loving person starts feeling the radiation of that person's love, the vibe of true love, and they rejoice as their heart easily receives that love, and as it permeates their entire being, their being in return radiating from their heart of love back outwards through their lovingly increased power of their auras. An aura of love. We all have this aura of love. May it shine ever more intensely as you open up the gates that enclose your heart to perfectly pure and loving love. Love is the unconditional giving of itself. Love is the unconditional giving of yourself, of your love, of your being. Only those among us that are capable of giving love unconditionally, humbly, delightfully, and completely are those that truly love. Remember what stands as a slogan to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and as the emblem of the Hard Rock Hotel and Casinos. It is the verse that the Beatles, that British popular rock group, sang in their last album, Abbey Road. In their before last song on the second side, in its 17th track, and the verse is, in the end, the love we take is equal to the love we make, and therefore the love we feel. So let us make love, let us feel love, let us be love, and let us bid farewell to all mischief that might divert us from love, such as trickery, deception, falsehood, fear, conflict, hatred, war, hardness, ruthlessness, and outright heartlessness, and insensitivity. Somehow, I can hear and feel right now the spirit of John Lennon and all those with a loving heart and a concern for others. So indeed, let us make love. Let each one of us make love. Let all of us make love. Let all of us feel love. Let all of us create love. And let us, in our love giving, pay respect to eternal life and true and everlasting love.